Hello, so you are in year 10 and you're thinking, coronavirus mayhem, what on earth do I do next? Well, the first thing I'd like to talk to you about are your exams. So you will get exams sometime, probably when you're in year 11. How should you use your time now without a teacher to prepare? Well, if you're a determined individual, the fact that you've got no teacher shouldn't be a major drawback. If I want to learn anything now, and I mean virtually anything, I basically do this. I go to YouTube. Now, I'm not just saying that because I obviously make videos on YouTube, but I've found that YouTube has an instructional video for virtually anything I want to discover. So whatever you want to know, go to YouTube and look up a video on it. You can discover virtually everything that way. Now, very often what you discover on YouTube will actually be better than your current teacher. Now, that seems like a really bold statement to say, but the thing that the YouTuber has had is time. They've thought really hard about what they want to teach you, and they've made it their best teaching. They haven't just come along and made the video by recording themselves. They put loads of effort into deciding how this was going to really help you learn. So what you get is the best teaching that the teacher could come up with at that time. So you're going to get really great quality. But the other thing that you're going to get is a video that's not too long. So when I watch students in lessons, and there's my hour hand, and they have the full hour on the clock, this is what I tend to find. The students seem to be working brilliantly during the lesson for only this amount of time. Other bits of time, the teachers are talking and the kids might be listening, or they're talking to a mate, or there's the getting into the class and getting out of it. And whenever I ask other teachers in school, they tend to agree with me that the amount of productive time that a student has in a classroom is only 20 minutes. So what does this mean? It means that 5 lots of 20 minutes would give you a whole working day at school. 5 times 20 is very little. It's just 1 hour and 40 minutes. And so if you just did 2 hours of work a day, you would learn more than you currently do at school. And that's genuine. I passionately believe that this is absolutely true. 2 hours a day and you would learn more than you would at school. So the next question is, what do I do with my 1 hour and 40 minutes other than watch YouTube videos? Well, you can choose to watch a Mr. Saleh's video or a Mr. Bruff video or any other YouTuber. You might even choose one by a professor, something made for university students. Why would you do that? Well, because you don't want to worry about what you don't understand. Just concentrate on what you do understand. So I watch a video and I'm going to make myself a revision card from it. And I'm only going to put on that revision card the stuff that I think is important. I can't have everything. I'm going to limit myself to just 5 things. Now, the advantage of doing that is I'm not going to overload my brain, and I'm also going to just pick on what's most important. If I write down everything, I'll get lost and I'll have too much information. But if I watch a 10-minute video and think, right, I'm just going to write down the 5 most important things, there's a much bigger chance that I'll remember it. And there's a much bigger chance that I'll be able to use that information for something else. I can't overemphasize how important this is. Once you take some information and you transform it in this way, your brain will simply remember it more. If you just watch the video and don't take any notes, your brain won't remember it. And if you take too many notes, the same will happen. You really need to limit what you want to learn, and 5 things is plenty. But don't just get 5 things after watching 3 minutes of the video. Watch the whole thing and then write down the things that you think are most important, and that will improve the quality of your thinking. Now, the other thing that you need to do is start connecting your ideas. And the easiest way to do that is with a mind map. A mind map should have about 5 branches on it, each with a different colour. And each of those lines, those branches, those colours will have a different group of facts or knowledge on it. Any of the ideas, for example, that are on my green line, or off my green line, I should say, must be connected to each other. That's how the mind map works. It simply links the ideas. So I might have a little mini branch there, a little mini one here. And whatever ideas are on these lines are going to be connected together. And that's what the colour code means. All the green ones are connected to each other. And the same will happen for my yellow and red and so on. Now, the massive advantage of this is that my mind map works like a brain. It connects ideas in the same way that the brain connects ideas. So I'm actually producing a map that my brain will naturally absorb. The other thing it will do is it will take the images from my flashcards, my most important information, remember, and it will connect those most important bits of information. Obviously, this works just as well from books, and I would encourage you to do exactly the same process by reading as well as watching the YouTube videos. Most people find it easier to watch a video because things are explained to them and it's more diverting. But if you're a brilliant student, you'll also really enjoy reading and finding stuff out, and again, converting it to those flashcards and onto your mind map. And the other reason that's really important is the way that your results will be calculated when you get into year 11. And they're not calculated by what you think. There is no pass mark. There isn't a particular standard you've got to get to. Now, let me show you why that's so important. You might think, logically, if there's an exam, there's going to be a pass mark. So if there are 100% of marks available, you'd think, well, I get to a certain number of marks and the government will say, oh, that's worth a grade 7. And I get to a certain number of marks and the government say, hey, yep, that's worth a grade 4. But no, that is not how the exams work. So the exams work like this. The government says, look, I don't care what marks everybody in the country gets. I'm just going to say the bottom 25% can't get a grade 4. They've got to get grade 3s or below. And I don't care how good the students are that year or how bad they are. I'm just going to say 25% of them are going to get grade 3 and below. And then at grade 7, they do the same. They say, look, we don't care what their marks are. We're just going to say the top 22% are going to get grade 7 and above. Okay, now these percentages change slightly. It might be 21%, might be 20%. This might be 25 or 24, but pretty much the government says, in order to make sure that our exams are the same every year, we're just going to say this many people fail, if you like, in old money, and this many people are going to do spectacularly well. And we do not care how the other students have performed. Well, what does that mean for you? It means that if you're spending your time now, 3 weeks into isolation, revising for year 11, which one of these groups do you think you're going to fall in? Well, you're 100% going to fall into that group. You know, are there going to be more than 22% of people who will do some work and revise now for when they're in year 11? No, they're not. Most people are going to be down here, okay? What's that going to mean? It means the actual marks you'll need to get in the exams will plummet. You'll probably be able to get into the top here with quite a low mark. So, what does that mean? Well, it means I'm no longer just going to think I'm going to aim for a grade 7. It means I could aim for a grade higher than that because I'm definitely going to be in the top 22%. And remember, you only have to spend 2 hours a day doing real revision. Now, the final piece of this jigsaw is about how memory works. And this is quite extraordinary. I couldn't believe it when I discovered it. But memory works like this. The ideal time to be tested on something is probably around 3 weeks. And then after that, you've got to increase the gaps. If you keep revising the same thing every day or every week, you will not learn it better. But if you keep having a gap that is around about 3 weeks and then larger, you simply build a better memory. Well, if you're starting now in year 10 and you want to remember this stuff at the end of year 11, if you start work revising, let's say in November of year 10, you're going to learn a lot less because you don't have that many 3-week gaps. But if you start that now, you have more gaps to learn from. The other great thing about that, of course, is that it's really not very hard, is it, to revise something every 3 weeks? Because that's not a lot of revision. So every time you add something to your mind map and every time you add something to a flashcard, you're effectively revising, and you can keep coming back to it every 3 weeks to see how much you've improved. Then you'll obviously have more flashcards and more mind maps. They'll be arranged in groups. So it'll be much, much easier for you to revise. At the beginning, I said that you could learn more this way than with your teacher. And I hope you can see why that's true, because in a school, your teacher doesn't have time to get you to do this stuff in lessons, and they don't have the time to space your learning out every 3 weeks so that you're constantly retested on knowledge that's 3 weeks old. And let's go back to the beginning of the video and see if you can remember what you were supposed to learn. So here is my beautiful summary of what I've been teaching you today. We started with how being in this position in year 10 could be a massive advantage for you. And now I hope I've explained why. But can you remember it? This, by the way, is why note-taking will work. Summarising the key information. I've got more than 5 steps there, of course, but you would be able to group loads of these together if you were writing 5 points. I wonder, which ones would you choose? Start now. Good luck with your revision. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below, and see you soon on my channel.